Welcome back to Dan on Dev. Imagine building something amazing only to realize you're the biggest thing holding it back. Today I'm going to share the painful and powerful lessons that unlocked massive growth for me and my team. Most founders think their job is to hold it all together, and I thought so too, until I realized that being the center of everything was the biggest thing holding us back. I want to show you how stepping away, on purpose, helped me scale our company far beyond anything I could have done alone. What I did is what I refer to as strategic failure. And if you're serious about growth, it's something that I think you need to master. At one point, I was the key man for everything. Product architecture, sales support, customer success, even marketing ideas. And I felt good at first. I thought I was kind of being like the ultimate leader, but the truth is that I was being the bottleneck. Deals waited on me, approvals waited on me, customers were always waiting for me, the sales folks were waiting for me, innovation slowed because of me, and it was exhausting and unsustainable. So I basically focused on hacking leadership a bit and doing something very counterintuitive. I started ignoring emails. I stopped responding quickly. I let balls drop intentionally. Why? Because I wanted to see who would step up. I wanted to create space for others to take ownership. And sure enough, people did. They stepped up, but it did not happen overnight and it was not smooth. We lost deals and some sales folks were pretty unhappy. But it was the only thing I could do to set a team up to really grow beyond relying on me for everything. So, for example, I was kind of the key sales engineer in most of the big sales. And I obviously could only be on so many meetings at once. So I stopped accepting some of the requests, or I started blocking out chunks of my calendar. And it looked like I was just busy all the time. So everybody was seeing just blocked time. And then I waited and I watched. And I started seeing like Dave would step up and start dealing with these calls. And I would see the emails because they were still including me on the threads. I'd see the emails and I would see Dave answering. And then behind the scenes, I would reach out to him directly. I'd hit him on Slack. Hey, Dave, here's what I think you need to do with this customer. Started mentoring him behind the scenes. Same thing in tech support. When some of these big support escalations were happening, I'd see Pete, and Pete would be trying to answer, struggling through it. I'd make sure I'd connect him with the developers and started making a path and started introducing him who works on what, really teaching him how things work behind the scenes. And eventually, Pete was able to then teach the other support staff. Same with Dave. He was able to start really teaching the rest of the sales engineers. And those guys started taking over and becoming leaders within their own teams. But I was only able to do that by stepping back and letting things fall and then mentoring behind the scenes. It took a long time. I did not take credit for what was going on. I did try to make sure my manager knew that what I was doing, because he would escalate things to me, but I was intentional. Like, no, I cannot be everywhere. And we saw the product. I mean, we 10x'd our sales over like 4.5 years, maybe 4 years. We basically 10x'd our revenue in ARR during that cycle. I could not have done that. Our team could not have done that if I was doing it alone. And what I realized was this: leadership was not about being essential. It was about being replaceable. My real job wasn't to be the hero. It was to create more heroes. I needed strategic failure to expose the gaps, because I couldn't see what was going on when I was filling the gaps. And I couldn't develop leaders when I was leading all the time. And I was leading all over the place. So what I learned, and what you can apply right now, is that sometimes you have to step back intentionally, create space for others, and mentor behind the scenes. Guide without rescuing. Don't be the hero. Reward that ownership. Celebrate those people. I remember reporting up a lot. Oh man, Dave is just really kicking butt over here. He's taken over on helping the sales engineers. Pete's done a fantastic job taking on the support tasks and the escalations there. I had to celebrate them up, celebrate to their bosses. You have to reward them for the work that they're doing. Accept the imperfections. Trust me, neither of those guys, and those are just examples, they did not always do it the way I would have done it. And sometimes that worked out well, especially like in managed services. There was some folks on that team that did it way differently than I would have, but I actually learned a lot from the way that they ended up developing out the team as those leaders stepped up. Accept that imperfection. It may be messy, but it's worth it if you want to scale. You got to stop being the bottleneck, start being a multiplier. Let your team grow. And what I found out as the dust settled is that I kind of discover and learn what the team really needed from me. They needed me, in my case, to constantly share and expand the vision. We're always looking at what we're doing, kind of where our goal was, and part of my task ended up being to, as we're getting too close to the goal, to expand the vision and to really set new goals and new exciting places to be, targeting. The goal could not ever be achievable. We had to always expand, and I was able to do that because I had space for it. And so I also found the other thing that was really interesting, and what I started seeing with my team, is one of my other skills and my other things I could do to help the team was troubleshooting problems and unsticking my team. Sometimes the unsticking meant involved technical solutions. I would get into the code with them, go through the problems, figure out what was going on. Sometimes it was political or process problems where, just had to navigate around things and help them feel like they could succeed. Sometimes just imposing my opinion to break group decisions and group decision blockage was what was necessary, because things get stuck in everybody wanting to consensus build. And I love consensus building, but once in a while, you need to just impose your opinion when you're the leader. And somebody's got to step up and do that. And sometimes that was what I'd be able to do and unlock my things. I found my true value add for the team. I found out how to be a multiplier rather than a bottleneck, and that was critical. So I encourage you to figure out what your teams need from you. What is your true value? You got to make sure you're not the bottleneck. Maybe strategic failure is what you need if you want to unlock massive scale. That's what worked for me. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, overcommitted, irreplaceable, good. You're standing at the doorway of your next level. You're ready to jump in. Consider strategic failure and how that might look in your situation. For now, thanks for joining me here on Dan on Dev. If you found this helpful, hit the like, subscribe, and share it with a leader who needs to hear this. And remember, sometimes the smartest move you can make is stepping back.